Hey, today we're taking a look at the Deviant Moon. I've been requested to take a look at some of my decks, so I thought I'd share a few of them. I have two of these. I got these with the borders on. The imagery is bigger with the borders off. So we're going to take a look and maybe we'll play with this doing a spread in a minute. But we're starting here with the Fool. So here we go on the flip through. The Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess. Now, this guy, Patrick Valenza, is the author of these, and I guess as a kid, he would play in cemeteries. Interesting to note, and he's been interested in tarot and so forth since he was 9. So you can read a little bit more about that in his white book. I am one that thinks the little white books always have a little bit of extra to offer, except for in the case of low scarecrows. Low scarecrows are tricky because they have all the languages and a little bit less on the informational. But Patrick Valenza. Now, my son got me this deck for my birthday, and I was like, this is very different, not my typical type of art. But when I got using it, I started falling in love with it. The Fool is an interesting fool because he looks back while he's going forward. That's kind of a trip. Justice with the 2 swords, interesting. The Chariot almost slowed down a bit. But let's go a little bit more. So hopefully you can see all this. So let's take a look. We've got Strength card here as the 11 or as the 8. I like it in the position as 8, but this deck has it as 11. Let's get these in the right order. Sorry, guys. Put these together rather quickly last night. I don't know what I'm doing here, but whatever. We're going to go one more, and then we're going to take some of these out so you can see them. You're getting the hang of it. It's still morning around here, and I don't know if the coffee has kicked in full strength. Now, this I did look at. This is the Death card, and there's something about this, about the little wee one trying to crawl back into the center of life, and something like that is mentioned. I'm going to see if I can take a quick look at the book and give you a take on that, because it's a little different. And notice it doesn't have any label on the bottom. It was that way in both of the decks. So it's a little unusual, a little bit odd. Yeah. Yeah, the child is trying to enter the womb of his mother, but it's held back because another's on the way. So with death comes rebirth. It's almost like this is the one and they're getting the second sibling or something. That kind of energy. All right. Now we're going to move these off for a minute. This I loved. This is what I fell in love with, that devil. Oh my goodness, the devil is great. Okay, we're going to take a minute to just look at him. Why I love him. Why I love this devil is because he's so cartoony almost. He makes me think of that show with the whammies. He looks a little bit like Fred Flintstone in his tiptoeing and stalking. And it takes a little bit of the scare factor out of the devil. And it reminds us about toxic stuff and how overblown we can get about things. So this is an interesting one. There's still references like here with judgment and resurrection, that kind of thing. Here the moon is interesting. Rather than having the 2 dogs, they have like these 2 puppets on strings. Really interesting take. Almost a Punch and Judy effect here. So very, very interesting. This makes me think of a clockwork going around. You'll find your own way to connect with these cards. But this is what it looks like so far. I separated the suits so we can look at them all together if you want. So we have the cups, the coins and pentacles, swords and wands. And some of this imagery is pretty different. But I still love this deck. It's easier to work with than you'd imagine. And I didn't work with it for quite a while. But it's great. It's a good little deck. Okay. The aces. We're just going to go on through. The 2s. This is a beautiful one. This one is interesting. Wrestling with yourself almost is what comes to mind. And then this, rather than having the juggler be all precarious, is knowing it's a dance with the energies. That's interesting to me. It's a beautiful take on it. The 3s. Yipes. Now this is an interesting one. The expansion, instead of seeing the ships go out and come back, you're seeing like an umbilical cord to what you're growing. That's a very interesting take. This one, rather than seeing put the stained glass window into the church, which is kind of alluded to a little bit here, you see somebody tinkering around with their head. And this is a card usually of teamwork and cooperation. So not quite sure what's going on there. Very interesting. The 4s. This one It's just like she's throwing away the cup. She's totally rejecting it. It's like, yeah, not so interested. A ship's way out here, but that could be the ship of the three or perhaps not. This guy, Patrick Valenza, also liked to go see old abandoned buildings when he was younger. So interesting, hippie-trippy creator. And fabulous deck. Obviously, I like it. I went and got the second backup. The borderless is great. I love borderless. We got to go back to this 5. This 5, it inspires a thought of paranoia or worry, somebody watching somebody else, this kind of thing, as well as a separation. This is like Shrew chewing him out somehow. This isn't so grand. The nanny nanny boo-ha energy of this one is fabulous. We have the 5 of Wands, the conflict. All right. Now this one, the crazy begging versus the giving, very different in the attitude that we have regarding resources. I loved it. Again, a Punch and Judy flavor with these puppeteers here. 6 of Swords as an airship, very interesting. May have had a little bit of an influence via the steampunk stuff that was, you know, getting big. This one was printed in 2013. The one with the borders, rather. It was printed in 2013. And it's the same. Here we have the 8s coming up. 7 of Swords. Now this is usually Sneaky Pete the Thief. I didn't mention that. We'll go to the 7s for a minute. Talk about those. This 7, running away rather than keeping the boundaries. It's almost like she said no, and she's done with it and out of there. Boom. 7 of Swords. Having to swallow a difficult truth. Putting yourself in a precarious position. There's options and choices there. The Cups and how he's not focused on what he really needs. Interesting to me. And then I always think you can't get blood from a stone. You can't get blood from a turnip. I don't know why both of those were said, but they were said. Don't know where I picked that up. All right. 8 of Coins, card of labor and work. Cups, going away, leaving something. Swords, feeling trapped. Now this is different than on the beach. It's almost like she feels like she's going to fall out the window and she's stuck within. But it's like, what if she just shifted? Very interesting. What if she shifted face forward and hopped over that little spiky fence? And here, the 8 of Wands. Now this is interesting. You see the allusion to the messages coming back and forth, but there's no speed actually done in here. Usually there's speed of travel and swiftness. The motion of this taking it all out once would probably happen, but it's very different. Okay, we've got the 9s, 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 9s. This is a great 9. Oh, I love that one. Moving into the 10s now. This 10, super painful. This one, super burdened. This reminds me of an old Mother Superior nun for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why, guys. The images definitely are suggestive and evoke different kinds of energy. It's a very, very fun deck to work with. And the court cards as we go through the pages. Where'd the Knight go? There we go, the Knight here. The Knight. This one's kind of a gross Knight. The Queens. I love this Queen of Wands. Really, really fierce looking queen. Okay. And all the minions around her, hearth and home and all those minions. Interesting. And this queen looks like she could wield both of those swords and be just fine. Now you see a little bit of black going on here. It's because I edged my cards and some of it got carried over. It's not actually there in the card, but when you see that, that's me and my inking and getting to know my cards that sometimes I get overzealous doing. And the Kings. Okay. We're going to put this away. I will show you. They did have a mat with this first one that I got. It was like in the box with the kit. So this is the ones with the borders that I got from my son. The borderless I got for myself. Again, there's the Devil. These I have not organized in any particular order. So I thought I'd show you the mat and lay some out. See what you think of how they lay out in position and so forth. So, 1 second. Hang in there. Here's the mat. Now I'm going to slide it down. I don't often save these, but on this one I did. Probably just because it was my son that gave it to me. but they have the whole moon thing here. And rather than going up and doing a traditional Celtic cross, instead of center and then around, they start it here, go counterclockwise, which I think is interesting, in the same line of thinking, Deviant Moon. So we're going to just go from the bottom. Let you see. This isn't a traditional pull, but it'll help you get the idea. Now, I don't use these mats, but some people might. I generally just kind of start setting up my own spread and do my thing. And if you want to use the mat, you certainly could. It's an interesting look at things. The positions are a little different, like secret desires and wishes. And this is suspicions or subconscious influences. Suspicions is what comes to mind. I don't know why. Subconscious is usually right in the center under the significator and crossing card. Here we have influence of others and spiritual forces rather than conscious thoughts. Surrounding environment, final outcome. The outcome is so full circle here. It's really interesting. Present. This is the inquirer. This is your significator. And the past influence. It doesn't quite say the challenge. Present, events yet to come. There's the future. So it really is set up a little bit different. Hidden forces. So I'm going to show you a few more. Let me scoop these. We're going to do a couple 2 and 3 card spreads just to give you a quick feel and flavor of this. We'll set these to the side, so just so you know, that's what's happening. And I really do, this one reads really fun and easy. It was a little bit more intimidating because the imagery is so different to what my taste would be. But I just found it very easy and fun to work with, actually. So let's just do a quick past, present, future. Take a look, see what we see. Now we've got some of them removed. I know this, so let's go for it. Past, present, future. Troubled past, disturbing and painful. Easy to see this 10 of Swords. This, it's about over. Getting out of this little box that this person's in. Very, very painful. The money, the give and take, and the lack thereof. Really well illustrated here. All these hands wanting to give, to give, to give. Almost mechanically. And this one is just, there's a desperation there. So past, present, painful past. Money's short and shy right now. And then happiness in the future. Seeing what's gone on before as a play or an act or something we've surpassed. And all the crowd being delighted or at least entertained by it. Another past, present, future. We have the Temperance, the 8 of Swords, 10 of Coins. Now this one, this 10 of Coins, it's usually family, legacy, dynasty, all that. You see the grandpa and the grandbaby, the dog, and the castle courtyard type thing. Here you're seeing this strategic game being played under the archway, as if the old one is passing on the knowledge to the new one. But who is this beneath the table? What's going on below the services? And does she have the queen? It looks like she has the white queen there. That's what it looks like to me. So there's more power hidden in the subconscious, it would indicate to me. You see the moon through all of it, pretty much, because it's the Deviant Moon. Here's the Temperance, pouring water back and forth. This is, cosmic and earthly getting together and feeling that flow. The angel's wings are a little bit, I think, shabby. They aren't tattered so much as they are a little bit shabby. It's like they need to be dusted off or something. They're not this brilliant white. He could have chosen that, but he did not. Then this 8 of Swords. I just spoke about her not too long ago. All right. Now let's just look at a little bit of a pro-con. So asset liability, just a 2 card. Oh, wow. The asset is the Devil in reverse. Liability, 8 of Cups in reverse. Now, I read reverses based on the feeling more than on if they're upright or not, just because I don't put mine away always upright. You'll have to decide as a reader what you want to read as. If you know the full meaning of the card, you can read either energy. You know what's going on. The Devil doesn't suddenly, because he's opposite, become an angel, but maybe his hold is a little bit diminished or delayed. Other people will tend to read the reverse card as more pronounced, and there's so much variation throughout. This Devil I like because it really accurately depicts what we create in our mind when we're stuck and bound to old ideas and toxic patterns, and then walking away from that. Asset, knowing what it is that you have to defeat. Con, not quite away from it yet, but choosing to walk away might be difficult. Page of Cups. This comes through with a delightful energy and surprise of love. There's a little bit of water here, but not a ton splashing around. Page gets the fish out of the cup, but he's like a little bit baffled as to what to do with it. That's kind of how this reads. I'm going to show you a few more cards. I love this deck. Love, love, love it. It calls people out. It's a great one. It's a little bit snarky, a little bit sassy. Let's see what else we got here. Just for real quick. Oh, the Wish card. Loving it. Little Aladdin influence there. Queen of Wands. Definitely great. So we'll just show you real quick some of these. Now this one has the spyglass. Interesting perception there. Some decks will have that. I've seen the spyglass on more than one deck with the Page of Swords to indicate he's observing things. Very much so. The Empress is interesting with the lizard tail. Cracks me up. And then the Lovers. Awesome. All right. We'll do one more. Nine of Wands. This is like holding strong but so sad. Kind of on the outside. Still having to hold on. This one we talked about. This is the Two of Cups. Now look at that right next to the Lovers. Very, very intriguing. Like it almost brings up days of courting and fancier times and royalty and all that jazz. Very interesting. The costuming here also with the courting. Three of Cups celebration. This guy interesting with the wrapping on the head, almost like he has a bonked head somehow. Got bonked on the noggin and will over celebrating consume you. Very interesting. So that's what I've got. This is the Deviant Moon. I have loved, loved, loved working with this deck. So if you're thinking about getting it, I'd say go for it. Obviously, I went and got 2. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.